Alright, hi guys, and welcome back to From the Sounding Board, the video segment where I answer your questions. Sorry I haven't done any of these for a while, been busy, but we are back and with your questions. So the question for this episode comes from George, and he asked this question on Facebook. So his question is, hello, my name is George, and I just purchased a Behringer Ultra DI active DI box. I also play Takamine guitars, 6 and 12 string. I noticed that all of your guitar volume levels are at 100% even when running the Takamine through the active DI box. My question is, why not turn down the volume on the active guitar to help manage signal output through the active DI box and into the mixer? Alright, so thank you, George, for your question. Let me answer the part about why I always have volumes set to 100%. Now, this comes from a habit that I picked up as a live sound engineer. As a live sound engineer, I don't want the guitar player turning their guitar volume up during the set, because it can actually push the mixer channel into clipping and therefore overdrive. As a result, I always had the habit of setting all of the guitar volumes to 100%. We're talking acoustic guitar here, all right? The other reason that I do this is that it is an easily repeatable setting. I find that with a lot of guitar volumes, especially those on a slider, it's hard to get the same numerical setting. Those controls are not terribly precise, which is another reason why I just set everything to full, right? It's easy to repeat from gig to gig, from venue to venue, and you get a consistent result. The final reason that I set the guitar volumes to full is that it often gives the best signal to noise ratio, right? If you reduce the guitar volume, you reduce the level of the signal, but the level of the system noise stays the same. All right, so those are the three reasons why I tend to set the guitar volume to full. All right, now let's move on to the second part of George's question here. I purchased the DI box a few hours ago and have been researching them before I use it. My primary reason to purchase the DI box was for use at my church, where we have lots of mic inputs but no guitar 1/4-inch jack inputs. I've used DI boxes in my church previously, but the DI box was borrowed. I do not know if it was passive or active. With the active DI box and lower volume output from the guitar and perhaps a -20 dB attenuation in use, do you think it would be a better match, provided that the sound engineer is up to snuff on the mixer? Well, you know, we always hope that the sound engineer is up to snuff on the mixer. Okay, so George is asking here, can he set the guitar volume to less than full? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely you can. Now, if you do this, you need to work with the guitarist, and they need to understand that they have a responsibility not to change their volume level during the set without letting you know, because if they do, it will upset the balance of the mix. All right? Where to set the guitar volume? Well, I find that in general, it's best not to set it to less than 50%. So if you're on a slider, say the slider goes 0 to 10, set it to 5. If you are on a rotary control, set it to 12 o'clock. I find this is a very good setting, especially where the circuit is active, meaning there's a battery in the guitar, and where you're running into an active DI box. I had a situation recently where the same DI had to be used for both passive and active acoustic guitars. I used an active DI box, and for the active guitars, I set the volume level to halfway. And that was a fairly good match between the active guitars and the passive guitars when using an active DI box. It meant that I did not have to reset my mixer gain during the changeovers. All right. Now, the other thing to bear in mind here, he refers to the need to use a 20 dB attenuation. Don't be afraid to set the gain on your mixer all the way down. In other words, fully counterclockwise. People often confuse gain and volume, right? Remember, gain refers to how much the signal is increased, and we need gain to bring the signal up to a point where the mixer can deal with it. If the signal is already really hot, all right, sometimes we don't need any channel gain. On the typical mixer, when you run into the microphone input, if you turn the gain all the way down, it gives you no gain, which means that the signal just goes through at unity, right? It's not like a volume control. If you turn a volume control all the way down, then you have no signal at all, right? With a gain control, turn it all the way down, you tend to get unity gain. Now, if you run into the line input, this is a bit different. If you run into the line input, you will typically, with the gain control all the way down, you'll get 10 dB of attenuation. And this is useful when you have very hot line level signals coming in, for example, from a stereo keyboard, synthesizer, something like that. That's where you need that 10 dB of attenuation. But if you're running through a DI box, you're running into the microphone input, and don't be afraid to turn that all the way down and just let the signal go through exactly as it is presented to the microphone input. All right, so thank you very much, George, for your question. If you have questions for me, don't be afraid to send them in. You can get in touch with me on the comments section of any of my videos. I monitor all of those. Even if the video was uploaded 6 years ago, I still respond to comments on that. You can also get in touch with me on Facebook or on my website. Links for those are in the video description below. All right, so this has been Bruno Luce for GLB Productions. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.